I wanted to talk about what I mostly do. I'm a lecturer at Massey University. I'm a freshwater ecologist, but I seem to spend most of my time fighting with government. And the reason that happens is they spend more time and more effort on spin and less on science and reality. And as a scientist, that kind of gets me really, really angry. I mean, I want to give the example, I guess, of the most recent one is this Fresh Start for Freshwater, our national policy statement on freshwater, that actually took us back. It shifted the goalposts, it weakened the limits, but they did it while saying it was going to improve freshwater in New Zealand. The best example I can give is the nitrate limit, one of the nutrients from intensive farming that's doing most of the problems. The ecosystem limit that's set by scientists is in the ANZAC guidelines that are Australasian guidelines. And the government shifted that from 0.5 milligram per litre to 6.9 milligrams per litre. So it's like taking the speed limit from 50 kilometres an hour to 690 kilometres an hour and telling you that they're doing that to make roads safer in New Zealand. And you know, they can just blatantly do this. We just had the other day with Nick Smith saying that, you know, by 2040 we're going to have 90% of our rivers swimmable. I mean, he only reacted because of the huge pressure that went on because he'd weakened it from the swimming standard, which was 260 E. coli units per litre, to 1,000 and called it wadeable. And this is also part of this Fresh Start for Freshwater, shift the goalposts like that. And they were surprised that people kicked up. So the government felt the pressure. So then they come up with this, they obviously were thinking really hard about how they're going to get away with this. People are really angry about going from swimmable to wadeable. And so what they did was, okay, they scrambled together this thing, said by 2040 we'll have 90% of our rivers swimmable. It's so easy to make a date out in the future, right, and then do nothing about it, because you're not going to be around. Nick Smith will be 80 or something by the time that comes out, so it's not a problem. But also what they did was they shifted it, the narrative, the word swimmable, they shifted the numbers from 260 to 540. So they could say, oh, okay, we're back down, you wanted swimmable, we'll give you swimmable. But they just changed the numbers to suit it. So 70% of it swimmable already just by shifting the number. Without doing anything, you've made 70% of it swimmable. And then the number of rivers that have to meet the standard, it turns out, are only 10% of the rivers. So 90% of 10% of the rivers will be swimmable by 2040. In other words, it's a nothing. It's just a complete greenwash. I don't know how many of you heard about the OECD report that came out on New Zealand on our environmental standards the other day. Really slammed us. Said we've got to get rid of 30% of our cows to try and begin to get back to any kind of reasonable freshwater standards. The OECD team were in the country, 6 months ago. They specifically asked to see me. Ministry for the Environment told them that I was not available. I would have jumped at any chance to talk to them. It backfired on them because I spent hours and hours Skyping to the people over there and gave them a heap of the information that they hadn't been given by Ministry for the Environment. And it really shits me to think that I'm paying taxes for these people to play these tricks. Exactly the same thing happens in regional councils. We've got getting rid of scientists, replacing them with comm staff and spinning the reality. The hardest part, I guess, for New Zealanders and for democracy is to be able to see through this spin. There's only a few of us who are in universities and have that safe place that we can call them out on. Our CRI scientists, the scientists that work for most of the organisations in New Zealand, are unable to speak up about this because they'll lose their jobs, they'll lose their funding, they are unable to speak up. So the only way that I guess that is the hardest thing is for people to know what to trust and who to believe. But I think it's quite clear that the extractive industries, the government is promoting this increasing intensification, and you have to look at who's paying the people that are talking, and there's so much industry pressure going on spinning this stuff that I guess and I hope that more of the academics will take on their role of critic and conscience of society and speak up more about this stuff. Okay, thank you very much.